Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name's Chris Burris, owner of E-Webstyle.
Yes, I am Charles Lewis, your internet marketing specialist.
How are you guys doing today? You are here listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. I actually asked them a question, and
in my mind, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting how they're going to answer that.
The most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. That is because of you, and all of you. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, all of you from all 64 countries around the world. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I had to reflect on that. 64 countries downloaded this podcast you're listening to last week.
Yep.
Right?
Last week.
Yeah.
That's
7,000 times. So
that is awesome.
Man, punch in the face.
We are your friendly, local, neighborhood, top position snatchers.
Yes.
Where our mantra is,
don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
As you're listening to the near electric to interact socially and geekily, we would ask you to be geeky right now.
Geekish.
Geekish. You can tag
podcast. Tag us at tweet it plus it. We'll find fun.
We have from the last podcast. Oh, it's our tip is actually we covered algorithm changes. So our tip is to listen to our new segment called Algorithm Cataclysm.
Algorithm Cataclysm. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some debate over the name. One or both of us may not be convinced. The Algorithm Cataclysm is where we're going to cover recent algorithm changes. That's going to happen really early in our podcast, frankly, for SEO reasons.
Yeah.
And the Algorithm Cataclysm section for today is listen to the rest of this podcast because we're actually going to cover Google Algo changes, which is the latest rap by this cat next to me, also known as the SEO Rapper. So we're actually going to go over the lyrics that he put together for that particular rap, give you ways to make contact with that rap. It just sounds.
Yeah, Bill is the jacket.
Yeah.
Bill
a little bit of news. We've got Facebook IPO. That's everywhere in the news.
Yeah.
I think it was actually pretty interesting that the Severin, one of the original founders, renounced his U.S. citizenship 2 weeks ago or a week ago to avoid $67 million in taxes.
Wow.
And U.S. senators there are a couple of them that are giving him a hard time, and they're like, you know what, you put that's how the laws are.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's not like he was born and raised here in the U.S. and then decided. He was actually born in Brazil. He's living in Singapore now. It's kind of foolish that he had U.S. citizenship at the time. Yeah. Maybe when he was here and at the time when he made Facebook, okay, that made sense. And now it doesn't make sense anymore. So it seems cool to me. This I thought was pretty cool. This is ultra geeky. Facebook to celebrate the IPO had a hackathon.
Yeah.
Their 31st hackathon. I was trying to find out a little bit of details about what they did in that particular hackathon.
That's not the first one they've had. And so my question has always been, what are you finding out? Or what are you trying to do? Or what's the logic behind it?
Yep.
Other than my vision of a whole bunch of people on computers typing real fast, and it takes you back to the scene from the Social Network.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
And so
there's a shot.
Yeah. What'd you win besides drunk?
Well, apparently some of their key products or features have come out of hackathons, so that's kind of cool.
Okay.
It would be interesting to know which ones and out of which and what they were working on. I think they're assigned some task. I don't have. What? I'm just making it up.
Well, frankly, since going public, that stuff will probably come to the light now because
there will be more information.
Yeah, all the stuff that was behind that closed door with the key and the lock on it has now been opened.
The lock and key have been given to lots of people now. I thought this was interesting. Windows Phone is edging out the iPhone in China.
Okay.
I don't know. I always liked I think it was. Do you remember Benny Hill? Is it Benny Hill?
Comedian.
Yeah, comedian.
Long time ago.
British guy, and he always used to say, "Once upon a time there were two Chinamen. Now look how many there are." We got a Facebook question, actually it's from Shaza Salim. She says, "Hey guys, I love your SEO podcast. It's very useful. I was wondering if you can help me with the following. I'm a webmaster, usually starts websites from scratch, but she just got a project and the owners asked her for a full analysis of existing and have and then email them a report. I know part of it will be SEO analysis, but what other things should I consider?" And I thought that was a great question. I don't know if you've had a chance to see our other podcast. It's actually a video podcast. It's the Unknown Secrets of SEO Analysis. So SEO is one of the things that we would do. Basically, in that podcast, people submit their website. We'll do an analysis of that website from two perspectives. One is from SEO, and then the other is from SEO, search engine visitor optimization. Definitely. That's where once the traffic gets to you, what are you doing with them? Are you guiding them in the right way so that they're interacting with you the way you need them to? We've said this before, and we're probably the only company that does web design that will say this. We work incredibly hard, and with as much skill and talent as we have, we pour all of that into a website. And we desperately want people to spend as little time as possible on that website.
Yeah.
If we can get them to pick up the phone in the first 2 seconds, 1 second, don't even click magically, just pick up the phone. That's what we would prefer, because typically our customers want people to pick up the phone and call them.
Yeah, I mean, our service, our niche for the businesses we tend to target and who our, probably large percentage of our clientele is small businesses who provide a service, and that service is either positioned by a phone call or an email or some sort of action like that. And so, yeah, we spend a lot of time and effort designing a great website that does SEO. Another phrase for SEO would be conversion optimization.
Right.
And so what we want people to do is search, find the site on the homepage, make that click, and then take action. Fill out an email, submit, bounce. Make a phone call, bounce. A lot of our sites have a high bounce rate because of that.
And we don't have a problem because
which
we're
is good,
doing call tracking and we know that they're getting calls. So,
exactly.
So yeah, I would really, to really sum up your question, yes, you want to look at it from an SEO perspective. You probably want to look at it from an aesthetics, just an overall aesthetics, which is really part of SEO. You want to make sure, let me give you one example. In one of our website analysis, we told it was the parks. Remember the New York parks? He had an image.
Central Park.
.com, Central Park schedules or something.
Yeah.
And so he basically had all of the things that were going on in New York Central Park. And on the upper left of his website, there was actually a video that could play. But it didn't have a big play button in the middle of the image. And we said, why don't you add a big play button? He wrote us back later. He said it increased video watches 70%.
Yeah. So
it's those kinds of things. Make sure, look at it from the perspective of a user. So not your kind of web design perspective, not your client's perspective who's kind of creating this content for the user, but look at it from the perspective of the user, and does everything really make sense? And if you want to guide them somewhere, is it easy for them to get there?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of consider the actions you want them to take. If you want them to email you or you want them to call you, put yourself in their shoes. How would they do that when they landed on the site? How easy is it for them to do that? Is the phone number prominent? Is the contact information readily available? Is what their prime target, what they're looking for, is that easily accessible? Keep those things in mind when you analyze the website. And if you haven't, submitted that site for our webinar, we had a few come in. I haven't looked at those yet. Go ahead and submit that, and we'll be glad to take a look at it.
And just go to our website to do that. Speaking of which, there are a number of ways you can interact with us. A couple of them are go to facebook.com/E-Webstyle, twitter.com/E-Webstyle, youtube.com/E-Webstyle, and email us at podcast at
e-webstyle.com.
All right, so I think
tenor, I'll tell you it was tenor.
was natural. You look like an alto.
Do I?
All right. So we have reached our Gino time limit. Again,
Damn.
you know what? She did give us a compliment. We'll call it a review. She said she loved the podcast, so I didn't have to put a tier. And I have to be honest, there were no new reviews on iTunes this week. Yeah.
How do you get, 7,000 downloads in a week and no new reviews?
Yeah, we don't have.
Almost disappointed.
Yeah.
Almost. We had a great week this week.
Yeah,
so
this is, yeah.
I'm not letting that spoil my great week, but come on, y'all.
Yeah. Just go on to iTunes, create an account, write a review, and if you choose to, let us know that you wrote a review, and we can give you a punch in the face, a little link love. So let's make that happen. Also, another thing that you can do, go to e-webstyle.com/SEO Rapper. /SEO podcast. We're about to jump into the SEO Rapper, so I'm a little excited about that. /SEO podcast, and just under the video section, you can find our Google Places page. Go there and write a review about our podcast. That would we really appreciate that. That'll help us out a lot. All right, Gino time limit exceeded. We are now going to get into the latest rap by the SEO Rapper.
Yeah, so a lot of y'all know Google. This has been a consistent topic throughout the past few podcasts we've done. Is about the algorithm changes Google has been making. And so a while ago, probably earlier this year, actually, I shared with Chris. I said, man, I think I'm gonna start composing a new rap covering all these algorithm changes.
And then he was like, I am now composing it.
Yeah, and
I'm about to wrap up. I am now wrapping up.
The bad part about it was I finished it in probably March, and I recorded the video and everything, and I had a cool concept in my mind on how the video should go, but I was editing myself and in my spare time, and I couldn't execute it the way I wanted. Problem with that was spending the time to execute it. Google released 2 new algorithm changes. And so it was like, okay, now this sucks, because now my new rap is already old.
Right.
And it hasn't even been released yet.
Right.
So I decided to just edit the best way I could, post a video up. It's called Google Algo Changes. Go to theseorapper.com. It's the first post there. You'll find it. Comment on it. Hit me up. Check it out. Tell me what you think about it. And I covered really, we'll go through it now. I started from 2010 is when some of the major algorithm changes started really having an effect, and I covered those from 2010, 2011, and up to earlier this year. And so the lyrics, we'll go through the lyrics. I guess I'll start from the top. The SEO Rapper back with another one. Pay attention this time, you might learn something. Shout out to Business Makers, made me think of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we did an interview with thebusinessmakers.com this week. Yesterday. Yeah,
was that yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah. And that'll be on their website probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. Them. Yeah. Dedicated to my online marketers, spending all day looking at monitors. That's me. First page aim, I get it in, man. We had Google tame to the algorithm change. So that was kind of the intro into the song. So then I'll talk about the 2010. Let me take you back to 2010. Local listings, Google Places. So local listings, remember that one was the one that came in where all of a sudden Google Places started showing up
in the results to begin with.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And it was all kind of scattered.
Yeah.
They had
over here, they were here.
They had maps over here above the sponsor side, then they moved the map to the middle, then it was some natural listings, then some places listings, then some more natural listings, and we were kind of freaked out a little bit because they were changing it every day.
Right.
And so that was back in 2010. That was in April. I actually put the date in here. Man, you gotta see, everybody wants to be A through G. That's what happened. After they finally figured it out, they came up with the 7-pack. A through G are the listings for a local listing search.
Right.
In June came Google Caffeine. It increased Google's website crawl speed. And so Google Caffeine was, the algorithm update that allowed Google to really index more sites
and massive content.
Huge amounts of content. That was when Matt Cutts, didn't he say they could take a screenshot
of the entire web?
Yeah.
Yeah. in 3 seconds or something. They actually have the pipe,
power,
the bandwidth, and the computer systems to literally take a screenshot of the web like that. That's crazy.
So
they don't do it because it would take down the web.
Mm-hmm. Google Instant came in September. Everybody was panicking. Remember? Yes, I remember that. Google Instant is when you begin typing your search query in the search box, and it drops down and gives you some instant related search terms. And so, from an SEO perspective, we were like, that sucks because it also because the page changes.
Yep.
As the more letters you type, the more words come up. The results automatically change.
Yep.
They'll count as impressions, this or that. We learned that they implemented the 30-second rule.
Right. And that's how I actually found a rap group called Tech9. I was looking up tech news, and by the time I had typed the N in news, Tech9 had come up, and so now I'm a fan of Tech9.
Awesome. Yeah, like Google should get paid for that.
Yeah.
But they probably do it somehow.
No, they should pay me. Javier.
Let's see, then they switch gears, focus on landing pages. In November, instant previews initiated. So, instant previews, if you're looking at a search page, you can hover to the right of the search engine result, and you'll get a pop-up with a screenshot of the website you're about to click on. Instant previews. I use it occasionally, especially when I see the text that doesn't
match necessarily.
Yeah, it seems like the result shouldn't be here.
Right.
Then I'll look at the site. So pretty cool. Saves you a click. Social signal was added in December. Your rank influenced by Facebook and Twitter. So that's when they kind of made a change to see if how much social was affecting your site. How much social activity you had, links, tweets, Facebook posts, comments, things like that. It's a distraction. So in 2011, there were more changes. You know them. I remember about 6 or 7. So in January 2011, they reached one called Attribution Updater. January tried to stop content scrapers. So the Attribution update was really targeted towards people who copying content and placing content in other places, spinning articles and things like that. That's what that algorithm update was for, to try to prevent that.
And that hit us.
Yeah,
that hit our SEO podcast page. We were bouncing between page 1 and page 2 at the time, and then we ended up back in the supplemental, and it was because we were just taking snippets of our podcast from our RS feed, and that actually ended up they cut us out because it was scraped content.
Yeah. So then they released Panda in February, messed up a whole bunch of people, very scary. And so Panda was huge. A lot of people were affected by the Panda update. The Panda update kind of really affected things across the board. Not just links, not just content. It affected a lot. How the over optimization was kind of sprinkled in there, and it was funny about Panda. It's so huge of an update that they're releasing out different versions,
subversions of
like Panda 3.5, Panda 3.7, and things like that. And so I think to this day, most of the algorithm updates have some sort of Panda in them, if you will.
Right.
Because you have good content and quality. They released Farmer in that same month, hurting people using content forums, Yeah. So the Farmer was for people who were just really getting content from all these different places.
Really trying to take advantage of caffeine.
Exactly.
And writing tons of content, and then they're like, oh, okay, that's too much content, and it's kind of crappy content.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of content makes no sense, but it's keyword rich and extremely targeted. And so you have all this content coming to your site from all these different places, and they're like, okay, this is a content form, we're not going to value that. And so if your site was ranking because of that sort of technique or tactic, then you were affected by the Farmer update.
We actually did, in some of our podcasts, we talked about people who were massively impacted by that Farmer update.
Yeah, it was a lot of people did. It was some pretty big brand names were actually affected by that. In March, they tried to get social right. +1 button similar to a Facebook like. So in March 2011, that's when we started to see the +1 buttons on the search engine results page. which is pretty cool, and which kind of leads into the next couple of algorithm updates. But the +1 is just like a like. Well, I ain't gonna say just like a like. It functions like a like. +1 counts as a vote, pretty much. Cool thing about it is it shows their image. You know, they like this, or somebody who they plussed it.
Right.
They +1 this, and so it's pretty cool because you can see people who are in your Google Plus circles, if they plus something that you're debating on clicking on or not.
And that can actually affect the results. But like, so when you do a search, if somebody in your circles actually plus something,
then your results will show different.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, mentally, I wonder how it works with. Let's say I got people in my circle who I don't favor them.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked at this page. You know,
yeah.
I'm like clicking this one. Site links came in August. It was 12. Then they cut it down to 6. So that is when you see a natural listing and you had the 6-pack of links that go to different pages on that site below the listing. Those are called site links. In October came a huge change, man. Encrypted search query hurt the analytic game.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, it was only supposed to affect 3% or something.
It's affecting
30% of a client that we have. Yeah.
Probably more than 30, because 33%
yeah.
at the last one we looked at. And every time I'm in analytics and I'm looking at keywords, not provided is always
the top. Yeah.
The top phrase. It's always. As a matter of fact, I've never seen anything under 30%.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I understand the logic behind it was protecting the privacy of people who are logged into Google, so you don't pass through their search data. But
you'll do it for PPC?
You'll do it for people who paying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little. Come on, Google. That's a little funny. Let's see. Yeah, in November, release freshness. We call it Ziplock. So the freshness update was a pretty cool one. I think it was really targeted towards industries that provide or that need to provide a level of new content.
Right.
You know, news or entertainment, sports, or health even, where information changes rapidly, and so they don't want to display old information. They display the newest information.
Right.
And so the freshness update, we call it Ziplock here. Just a better name for it.
Yeah. Google should just take our lead.
Here in 2012, they still added too many ads above the fold. Call it top heavy. Top heavy was the algorithm update that really focused on sites that had too many ads, frankly. So most of these blog sites got affected by that. You know, they have a banner ad at the top, and then you're still above the fold, and you have some more kind of square ads over here, and then you got a pop-up ad coming over here, and all this is happening above the fold before the user can get to the content. Getting penalized for that. Easiest, go remove your ads, put them below the fold.
And this really goes back to what we say regularly. As long as you're providing a good experience to the Google user, then Google's going to like you. And if you're providing a bad experience, eventually Google's going to incorporate into their algorithm something to stop that, to stop you from showing up well in the search engines if you are.
Yeah. And so the last one I covered in the song was Plus Your World search. Includes Google Plus social data. That was the last one they did. It was very major. And so the Plus Your World search, that's when they began to really, it tied back to the +1 button update. The Plus Your World search really began to change everyone's results based on the search word due to, how social they've been in regards to Google Plus. So if you've +1 this site, and that site, and they're related or linked to some other sites, then depending on what you search, that will have some sort of effect on what results you see. It even goes a step further. People who are in my circles or who I'm in their circles, if they've +1 stuff, similar things that Google deems may be interesting to me, then my search engine results may change again, which is good and bad. I think in regards to that, it makes doing SEO a little bit more, I won't say difficult, but a little bit more time consuming.
Right.
Because there's more work you got to do now, more steps you have to do. I can't depend on the same results showing for a particular search phrase regardless of who searches it.
Yep.
Now if they're logged into Google, they'll see something different. If they're active on Google Plus, they'll see something different. If they're logged in, active on Google Plus, and have a lot of people in the circles, then those results will change again. And so you have to, it really forces you to add Google Plus to part of your search engine, your search engine optimization strategy. You have to be doing G Plus now.
Right.
Add that to your social media campaign.
Yep, absolutely. And since they've actually integrated the local places listings and the kind of traditional organic listings, you've got to do a better job on your Google Local Places page as well. Yeah. So that's true. So at the end of your wrap, and by the way, it's really cool what he did with it, because he's got a section where he's teaching, and he's got him as an SEO or wannabe kind of guy, and so check out the video. It's awesome. At the end of the video, he mentions some of the algorithm changes that he didn't mention in the wrap.
Yeah, so like Penguin came out afterwards. They just did another one. The Penguin one kind of affected anchor text. They released several things since then, like within the past 3 months. And so I did cover those briefly. May start on a part 2, perhaps, because I'll wait till the end of the year, and that way I'll have enough content for it. But so check it out, theSEORapper.com. Maybe we'll tweet it out to those who happen to be watching right now.
Very cool. All right, that's it. You have been listening to any Blank Stare?
No, not really. I'm just curious to see what's gonna happen after the IPO today.
Yeah.
That'll be Blank Stare regardless of how it happens.
Yeah.
It'll be something
huge, tiny,
probably historic.
I heard yesterday that the projections of the valuation of Facebook, if you use the multiplier based on earnings and the actual valuation of Facebook, if you use that same multiplier on Apple's like a $2.3 trillion company if you use that multiple. So it kind of gives you a sense, because I think Apple's a couple billion. I don't know what they're at. They're not in the trillions, and so it gives you an idea of how the valuation of Facebook has been so weird. And there's been a lot of talk lately of is Facebook going to be gone in 10 years? Is Facebook going to be MySpace in 10 years? Who knows? Only time will tell. Yeah. There have been other really large social networks that have gone the way of the dodo. You have been listening to the most popular SEO podcast. This has been podcast number 149. Next one's going to be 150. I think we will have
a hat on and a balloon and a cone hat.
A cone hat.
The birthday.
Yeah.
The celebration.
Woo.
Yeah.
Maybe
the thing.
That's a good idea. Yeah. So come make sure you check that one out. And make sure you go check out the wrap, theSEORapper.com. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for making us the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. Until the next podcast, my name's Chris Burris.
Charles Lewis.
Bye-bye for now.